How far is NATO willing to provoke Russia in Ukraine?
Представители стран НАТО, особенно в Европе, особенно в малых странах, они должны вообще отдавать себе отчет.
The world is about to experience the World War III, all thanks to Uncle Joe Biden, his administrative, that he had to push things very fast because he feels like it's the big brother around the world who can get to control to what people have to do, to what people have to say in everything that is happening. Well, guys, as you all know that the world is about to engage to another World War III.
You are wrong. This attack crossed every red line. We are not a frog in boiling water. We are a nation of lions.
It was precise and only targeted military objectives and carried out carefully to minimize the potential for escalation and prevent civilian harm.
I think it's important to be respectful on these occasions. A country has had a massive attack from a dangerous and malign actor in the region.
Poses grave risks to the security and stability of citizens across the Middle East.
China calls on the parties concerned to show maximum calm and restraint and resolve their differences and disputes in accordance with the purposes of the UN Charter.
The Middle East is on the brink. The people of the region are confronting a real danger of a devastating full-scale conflict. Now is the time to defuse and de-escalate.
Instead of making accusations, the Western countries should appreciate the Islamic Republic of Iran's restrained and responsible actions towards the stability and safety in the region. Western countries should blame themselves and answer to public opinion for the measures they have taken against the 7 months of war crimes committed.
Представители стран НАТО, особенно в Европе, особенно в малых странах, они должны вообще отдавать себе отчет.
Well, guys, as you all know that the world is about to engage in another World War III, all thanks to the big brother, Uncle Joe Biden, administrative, whom believe that he can do whatsoever he feel like doing around the world because they feel that they are the one who are in charge and that the one who are in control of everything.
Do the United States need this? What for? Thousands of miles away from your national territory. Don't you have anything better to do? You have issues on the border, issues with migration, issues with the national debt, more than $33 trillion. You have nothing better to do, so you should fight in Ukraine?
But unfortunately, the Middle East with Russia, they want to do things differently. As you all know, that it's been for some times now that the Ukraine, they've been in a very serious conflict with Russia. Well, at first, the West, they were busy supporting Ukraine, and one of their reasons was to say that, no, we are here only to help them to protect their own territory because they are a sovereign country. Lucky enough for Ukrainian, at least they're being recognized as a sovereign country, which is different compared to other countries that the US with its allies, they usually invade. When they do so, they don't consider it that they are busy invading a sovereign country. But for Ukraine, they said it that it was a sovereign country. They had to go and say that, no, look, you got our support. We will give you everything in our possession to help you protect yourself against Russia. You have to join in NATO and do this and do that.
Russia has escalated by invading another country, and Russia has escalated just last weeks by opening a new front where they are hitting Ukraine from inside Russia. And of course, to assume that Ukraine should not hit back is in no way reasonable because Ukraine must be able to defend their territory, also of course by hitting the artillery, the missiles which are launched against them.
Ukraine with Zelensky, stupid as the way they accepted to all the fullest of the West, they accepted to all their ideas because they believe that, of course, this is the big brother around the world, which is the US, with its allies. If we have to accept or listen to what they're telling us, everything's working in our favors.
GS has already used more than 9,000 guided aerial bombs against Ukraine. And we need the ability to shoot down their combat aircraft so that they do not approach our positions and borders. It is possible. It is just as possible as giving protection to the cities of Ukraine from Russian rockets. We urgently need Patriot systems and missiles for them. This is what can and should save lives right now.
But unfortunately, they were not dealing with a small boy. They were dealing with a big nation such as Russia, with Vladimir Putin, who had also to demonstrate what is capable of. Ukraine managed to survive for all this almost 3 years now, all thanks to the West. Support, finance, materials, weapons, everything. That's how they survive for these times. But in the meantime, there is innocent people who are being killed, women and children running up and down. Things are not promising that good as they expected. Now that they have lost many people in this conflict, of course they were now thinking about starting, for an example, attacking also Russia within their territories, because when Russia is busy attacking their cities, some of their cities, Russia attacked them from Russia. So they feel like, no, they have to do also the same thing. But in order for them to do this, they need a support of the US. They need the US at least to intervene them. They need the West to come and give them the materials, because they were even running out of fighting drone. So we saw how NATO countries they came up. France came and said that no, they'll send their militaries over there, they'll give this. We saw British with former Prime Minister David Cameron, who have to come and say that no, look, British, we are ready to supply you with every weapons that we have as a great nations, and then you guys, you can also reach Russia over there. So since all of them, they've been making all these promises, of course they were waiting to hear the final decisions, a decision that will have to approve or disapprove of all this idea, which have to come from the big brother, Uncle Joe Biden.
The Biden administration has quietly given Ukraine permission to strike inside Russia. The words secretly and quietly show that Biden may not have wanted Russia to find out so soon. But Washington has only partially untied Ukraine's hands. Ukraine can now use American weapons on Russian soil, but only near Kharkiv. Kharkiv is Ukraine's second largest city. It's barely 30 kilometers away from the Russian border, and Moscow has been pummeling Ukrainian forces around Kharkiv for weeks. Kyiv has found it impossible to defend against this, because Russia has been launching these attacks from inside its own territory. This posed a big challenge for Ukraine, since it had to wait until the missiles crossed the border before shooting them down. And it is why Kharkiv is in danger of capitulation. Russia is reportedly amassing its troops near Kharkiv, but because they are inside Russian territory, so far Ukraine could not do anything about them, at least not with US-supplied weapons. Now, with Biden's covert thumbs up, Kyiv can attack Russian troops and bases, using American howitzers, HIMARS, Grads, and everything else. American anti-aircraft systems like the Patriot can now be fired into Russian airspace. This is a massive escalation.
Joe Biden accepted and signed a signature. He put a signature to all this, that the Ukrainians, they should be supplied with all this kind of materials. We are talking about nuclear bombs. We are talking about kind of weapons that can also destroy. So they want Ukraine to start attacking Russia as well, whereby they can launch some missile or bombs that can go all the way and reach Russia. Well, politics again. So since they approved all these things, Russia on their side, they had given a warning to all these NATO nations that stay out of this. They could not want to listen. Vladimir Putin himself, he came and said that
the representatives of countries that are NATO members, particularly in Europe, particularly in small countries, should be aware of what they are playing with. They should remember that these are primarily countries with small territory and dense population.
Well, after Vladimir Putin said all this, they thought that the man is just saying for saying. They thought maybe he's playing. But since they keep on insisting, sending now more weapons over there to Ukraine, well, Vladimir Putin is like, okay, you guys think that I'm playing with you? Then he released, or he ordered for the drill of the nuclear bombs. After he did so, well, we saw how Russian troops went out and they opened up some of their nuclear bombs and they put them there. Now, when you're seeing Russia doing all this, do you think that they're doing it for, like, they're trying to show off or what? Do you think that they're doing some definitely or something like that to the world? No, they're not doing this to play. These are the sign of showing that they're taking the threat of the NATO very serious. And they're telling them that, no, look, if you don't stop Ukraine from this, if Ukraine try to drop their bomb over in Russia, well, we're not only going to deal with Ukraine alone, but we are going to deal with NATO nations.
Представители стран НАТО, особенно в Европе, особенно в малых странах, они должны вообще отдавать себе отчет.
And here they were referring to countries such as Romania, all those neighboring countries, Switzerland. They were referring to those countries. Because the war, it is now well known, it has nothing to do with Ukraine anymore.
Today, the Kremlin spokesperson said, and I quote, "We know that attempts are already being made to launch attacks on Russian territory using American-made weapons. This is enough for us, and it more than eloquently demonstrates the degree of involvement of the United States in this conflict." Here's what Russia's defense minister said.
Russia's military grouping is forcing the enemy out of their positions. Advances are taking place in all tactical directions. As a result of active actions in different areas of the Kharkiv region, the enemy has retreated 8-9 kilometers.
This has something to do with the NATO nations. NATO's, they want to destroy Russia. And then Russia now feel like, okay, I'd rather fight than me just sitting here for someone to come and defeat me.
GS has already used more than 9,000 guided aerial bombs against Ukraine. And we need the ability to shoot down their combat aircraft so that they do not approach our positions and borders. It is possible. It is just as possible as giving protection to the cities of Ukraine from Russian rockets. We urgently need Patriot systems and missiles for them. This is what can and should save lives right now.
Now, guys, let us talk a little bit about these nuclear bombs. It is not something that you have to neglect it, okay? Because Russia, they're having them about 2,000 of them. The US, which is the most powerful nation in the world, they're having them only 210 if I'm not mistaken. So if they have to engage themselves in this world right now, I doubt that NATO nations will survive. So they'll have to go and fight them. And remember, one of these nuclear bombs, because there are those which are nuclear bombs which are bigger, and there are those ones which are small. But one of it cost about 100,000 US dollar. Can you imagine how much did Russia have to invest in order for them to have more than 2,000 nuclear bombs? Well, this is the kind of a person that NATO nations, they want to play with.
Escalation, well, Russia has escalated by invading another country, and Russia has escalated just last weeks by opening a new front where they are hitting Ukraine from inside Russia. And of course, to assume that Ukraine should not hit back is in no way reasonable, because Ukraine must be able to defend their territory, also of course by hitting the artillery, the missiles which are launched against them.
That was Jens Stoltenberg, the Secretary General of NATO. He's echoing what some NATO member states have been saying for a while, that Ukraine should be allowed to hit military installations inside Russian territory. It started with the UK in early May. The British Foreign Secretary, David Cameron, said Ukraine had the right to use British weapons to conduct strikes inside Russia. This Tuesday, 2 other major NATO members gave their approval. French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said that Ukraine should be allowed to defend itself, even if that means hitting targets inside Russia. NATO members have also been building pressure on the bloc's biggest and most lethal member, the US. And it seems to have worked.
They want to mess up with this man. They are trying to see how far Putin can go. They threaten Putin, and Putin keep on telling them. Okay? So now, they have called for this so-called a last peace talk. And this last peace talk, if it does not work, obviously, things can even get more sour, because this was going now to escalate. Because the moment when Ukraine launched a missile to attack Russia, they're not going to see Ukraine anymore. Instead, they will see the entire NATO nations. So they'll have to look which of the NATO nations that they can go and try to bombard or to destroy it. That's why you see all the neighboring countries to Russia, such as Romania and Switzerland, all these small countries, including even France, they are busy sending already their fighting machines right on their borders, because they just want also to be prepared. They don't want to be hand-coded just like that. Instead, they want to be prepared in case if something it's coming up, they can be able maybe to destroy it before it lands. Now, see how far this world, these people are taking us in this world. Something which was very simple, something which is supposed to be seated down and have a conversation and talk about it, but just because it does not sit okay for some people, or just because some people, they are trying to protect their benefits or their interest somewhere there, they want to make this something small become even more bigger for everyone. We need to open our eyes and stay on the look, because these things are not that simple as you think. It's been for some times now that the US and France and British, they've been accusing Russia from taking what belongs to them. Do you know what is that? Well, you'll find out in our next videos, because we are going to talk more about it. So we shall wait and see how far NATO is willing to provoke Russia, and trying to see how Russia can respond back. Thank you so much, guys, for taking your time to watch this video. Make sure that before you leave, you like this video in your number. We'll really do appreciate. And also make sure that you comment in the comment section. Tell us also what you think about this conflict that's been going in Russia. Then we'll come back again and have more conversations in our next video. So that will be all for now. Don't leave without you subscribing if this is your first time to watch our videos. We'll really do appreciate. Feel free to join this big family of Cool Bars TV. For now, that will be all. Continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect to everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon. Ciao, ciao.